A delay in diagnosing cervical cancer is one of the most tragic types of cancer malpractice cases because if detected early, cervical cancer is one of the most successfully treatable and curable cancers. By delaying the diagnosis or missing the diagnosis entirely, cervical cancer can be allowed to spread to other parts of the patient's body and eliminate the patient's chance of cure or survival. Cervical cancer starts in the cells lining the cervix, which is the lower part of the uterus. Most cervical cancers begin in the cells in the area referred to as the transformation zone. Cells in the transformation zone do not suddenly change into cancer overnight. Rather, the cells gradually develop abnormal changes that are called precancerous changes. These precancerous cells are checked in the lab and graded on a scale of 1 to 3 based upon how much of the cervical tissue is abnormal. For example, in grade 1, not much of the cervical tissue looks abnormal, and it is considered the least serious cervical precancer. In grade 2 or grade 3, more of the tissue looks abnormal, and grade 3 is the most serious precancer grade. Only some women with precancers of the cervix go on to develop cervical cancer. If the doctor timely diagnoses a cervical precancer, treating it can prevent almost all cervical cancers from developing. The goal of cervical cancer screening is to find precancer or actual cervical cancer at its earliest stages when it's most treatable and most curable. In short, regular cancer screenings can prevent cervical cancers and save lives. The two primary tests for cervical cancer screening are the HPV test and the Pap test. Cervical cancers are classified by how they look under the microscope in the lab. The main types of cervical cancers are squamous cell carcinoma and adenocarcinoma. Approximately 90% or 9 out of 10 cervical cancers are squamous cell carcinomas. Most of the other cervical cancers are adenocarcinomas. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with cervical cancer and believe that there was a delay in diagnosing your cervical cancer or the doctor misdiagnosing your cervical cancer earlier in time, please call my law firm, Matzus Law. We will be happy to speak with you and learn more about your situation and investigate a claim to determine if there was a preventable delay in diagnosing your cervical cancer.